is dead. Crown crack, legacy bled. But the real ones rise from the dirt. Kevin Impact, Nick kicking in, legends alert.
Nitro is dead.
Body cold on the pavement.
Fake throne empty.
No more enslavement. Them back crashing waves. Demolition pavement.
Nick kicking in, shadow strike, lethal engagement. Nitro is dead.
Echo in the graveyard.
Heavy beats dropping.
We bling it hard.
Legends eternal. Bars never fade.
Impact and kicking in.
Forever remain.
Kevin Impact, step in the ring. Feel the quake. Don't flop days, body and foes. No mistake. Punchlines land like earthquakes. Shake the foundation. From Pikeville roots to UK domination. Bleak try to clash. Got buried in the verse. Dialect duck, but Impact made it worse. Aggressive flow, no mercy. Straight carnage.
Every bar a barrage, leave them damaged.
He built from the basement. Ciphers to stages. No gimmicks, just rage. Breaking out cages with Nitro flex. Fake Impact, shut the gate. One round, one kill. Legends fate. Heavy 808 pound while the crowd go insane.
Kevin reload, bring the pain. Nitro is dead. Body cold on the pavement. Dead throne empty.
No more enslaving.
Impact pressing green.
Demolition pavement.
Nick kicking in, shadow strike, lethal engagement. Nitro is dead.
Echo in the graveyard.
Heavy beats dropping.
We playing it hard.
Legends eternal. Bars never fade. Impact and kicking in. Forever remain. Remain.
They're kicking in, phantom in the mist, ghost mode activated. Silent killer calculated, never hesitated. Metaphors twisted like barbed wire fences. Underground menace, defenses defenseless. Strike from the shadows, precision incision. Leave ops wishing they never made the decision. No spotlight, hunger, but the skill make them shiver. Pikeville, cold heart, deliver the liver. Reborn in a cipher, anime, soul, hockey grit. Counter every move, make the whole scene quit.
Nitro talk loud, but the legends stay quiet. Now the thrones calling. Nick rising to fight.
Heavy bass rumble while the Sphinx creeps slow.
Kicking in strike, watch the body hit the floor.
Nothing tried to rain, but the fire went out. Fake kings crumble when the real come about. Kevin smashing forward, Nick cutting the route. Heavy beats banging, no doubt. No doubt.
Nitro is dead. Nitro is dead. Kevin Impact drain, Nick kicking in hard. Heavy beats thumping, Memphis over shred. Hate feel forever.
The crown on our head.
Nitro is dead.
Of a real undead.
Impact kicking in.
We reload, we ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to episode 14 of Nitro is Dead. Now, before we get this show going, I see we got a lot of people showed up. You know, a huge shout out to Total Anarchy Network 2K. Known as AHW and APW on their end, Chaotic Syndicate HQ for their content. Huge shout outs to them. Real quick, before we get on the announcement, guys, I just want to make sure that everybody's got the links out. Everything is good to go. Been a busy day, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's one of those days that, you know, I had to literally go and travel and do personal stuff. But I finally get back to cooking to what's real important here in the CAW community. Like I said, I hope everybody enjoys this segment here that we do here on the Nitro is Dead episode 14. You know, we're still going to bring this podcast and, you know, do the interviews like we did. But now since the links are shut out, you know, DJ already said the link is shared out. So now we're going to get into the real topics. And the Titan Nation Alliance updated rules and standards. This is for people that wants to join the company. You know, I set boundaries, I set standards, and I set rules. You guys got to know this. If you guys are in my chat, these rules are protecting not only the CAW creators from drama, but also, you know, putting respect, loyalty, and the brotherhood, just like the real business would have done. Before we get into that, we're going to go into core values. So the core values of Titan Nation Alliance is built on respect, loyalty, and a drama-free environment. Every member is expected to contribute positively. Notice that word there, positivity. That means no negative thing is going to enter in this chat. And if I see it, it's going out that door. Just to clarify that. We get back to these rules, and, we got zero tolerance rules that, the moderators here in the chat, as well as you guys, as call creators and call content with your own creativity here. This protects you from what I'm about to put out here. One of those would be no bullying for the zero tolerance rules. This means harassment, targeting, or repeated negativity towards any member is not allowed. I mean, you guys can joke, like you guys can joke, but don't take it too far to where it's leading to bullying and all of that. I feel like that rule needed to be in effect for the zero tolerance rule. Now, here's where I really hate to put these two rules that I'm about to speak of, because we got a bunch of idiots that don't get the memo of leaving people alone, and they want to keep on with their bullshit and their drama. And this is where I'm about ready to speak it. No spying. Members must not report anything that happens outside of TNA. So in other words, I don't want to hear about what happens in another company that they do. I don't really care what they do. They can shove a boot up their ass and suck on cactuses for all I care. I'm just speaking the facts here. This also goes for no lurking. Inactive members who don't participate or communicate will be removed after a warning. But here's the thing. These inactive members that didn't participate was only trying to get on shows to make their shows better. They didn't care about nobody else's show on their own. So I'm going to put that in where it needs to be. Then no drama causing. Personal conflicts must stay out of the alliance. If issue arises, take them to leadership privately. In other words, come to me, come to DJ, or come to our talent relations officer, which is Ricky Armstrong. We'll try to handle it the best way we can to resolve the drama-free environment for you and your calls here on TNA. Now, I got this out of the way. So if you guys got any questions in the chat, you're more than welcome to ask. But we're going to move on shortly here. And I'm going to read the chat as I go. And agree with DJ on this. Exactly a positive environment for the TNA chat needs to understand. Definitely agree with that. This is a major factor moving forward. The only thing exceptions are working or family getting together. I agree with that 100%. So in other words, if you're at work, you can always catch the replays, or if you're, doing personal stuff with your family or even death in the family. I'm not going to have no stupid rule that says you must, have 14 days or 21 days to be active or you're removed. That's bullshit rules. I'm just going to basically say that. You get mad, you get mad. I mean, it's my channel, my rules. You can't respect it. Don't be coming in here and acting like a, little 13-year-old kid because you couldn't get your way because I took the candy bar away from you. Grow up. Sums it up. Ricky even said it, drama-free. So basically going back to what Ricky said about the drama-free. So far, I don't see no questions. So if we don't have no questions here. So I'm going to go back to the respect and conduct rules. Treat all. Hold on, let me go back before we do this. DJ put something here. I want to. Everyone is going to be a huge factor for the TNA roster. No excuses. That's exactly right. No toxicity. I agree with both statements on that between Ricky and DJ there. Moving over from that now. Respect and conduct rules. Treat all members with basic respect, even during disagreements. You see, here's where most, I feel like this needs to be a major concern. Most call promoters, they don't have that boundary set. They don't treat people with basic respect, even during disagreements. And this is where the rule that I decided to put in my chat that will be addressed. If you're going to be a leader, you need to lead by example. It's one of those things that you must lead and follow it by your actions and also your deeds, but also you got to have that mindset of leading by that example in leading towards that progression movement. So going back to, treat members with basic respect, even though if two of them's getting in a disagreement, you don't have to be involved in it. Just treat them both with respect. Do like we did today with, two people that we had to talk to. Not going to mention their names, but we had to make a private call just to sort out issues. That's how you fix things in the community. You don't fix things by doing the toxicity and making people, it's kind of like taking a stick and stirring shit. The worse you stir that shit, the worse it's going to smell. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're trying to stir that up, you're not really helping it. You're causing problems more than you're helping. So moving forward, follow leadership decisions during events or alliance actions. Pretty much, that includes, not only my alliance actions, but also, the partnership. That means AHW, JTV, KXN, AAW, you got KJ's company, which is NWF. You got to show respect to the leadership's decision. It's whatever they want to do on their show. You don't have really much say so. It's up to the owner. For example, like Ricky, I'm blessed and thankful for him pushing me to be the hardcore champion, but he didn't have to do that. He could have took me to another division and pushed me to another route. So going back to following the leader's decision. That's a major concern in the call community that needs to be addressed. I think there's a lot of people that don't like the leader's decisions and they get mad and they start this unnecessary kid shit. And, Ricky's right about this. I'm going to mention this here on the Nitro is Dead. Shout out to Ricky for that. There was a lot of kid shit that I think that needs to be addressed. If you can't handle the leader of a show because he wants to do the right thing and you want to send your goons or your people in just because you hate the decision that I made or somebody else made, and you try to, for example, I put this for example, I'm not calling anybody out, but I'm putting it for example as it needs to be. But for example, that's like me, not agreeing with Ricky's decision. And I'm telling, somebody like DJ or KD, go in his chat and, see what I can find out. That's not how you do things in the call community. That's causing more drama and toxicity than it needed to be. So just saying that out there. I'm not making no personal shots against nobody. I'm just putting that for an example. So don't think it's all on you, because I'm clearing that narrative right out the gate. So no spamming, trolling, or attention-seeking behavior. Like I said before, no coming in here trolling, no showing that you want that attention, because it's not going to happen here. You got a right to watch the show, but you don't have a right to be a kid and start your kid drama, because we're not going to put up with it in the chat. So I want to clear that conduct with the respect and rules conduct in that thing. You keep communication clear and constructive. Same thing we did in that video call today. We kept it clear and constructive, got everybody together to where they was on mutual agreements, that where there was no fights, no arguments. You know, everybody agreed on one thing, and we pretty much moved forward with the issue. Support teams instead of competing against them internally. This is a major factor. I think that we definitely need this in the call community, and you know, I'll try to explain this in my behalf here. You know, support is a huge factor. If you don't have that support system, you're basically falling into the category of a hater. In other words, you want to compete against them just because of jealousy, because somebody's doing better than you. Here's where literally the concept is right in front of the picture that is painted. When you have somebody that is better than you, and you have somebody that literally doesn't like you because you are doing something different that they either didn't think about or they didn't have in their own creative mindset to do, and you actually pulled it off and it worked for you instead of them, that's when the issues become the problem. And we trying to be the solution and fix the solutions than rather dealing with the problem individually, if I can put that in, you know, to make it make sense. So getting that out of the way, I hope everybody's getting all information taken in here in the chat, because I'm trying my best to get everything in order for this live stream. Now, I'm going to be honest. You know, this rule of conduct that I'm doing is something new. And I believe it's going to help out not only TNA, it's going to help out AHW, it's going to help out JTV, it's going to help out AHW, NWF, KXN, you know, all these other companies that we're in partnership with. It's going to help us in the long run, because we are moving towards more positive side of call than the negative, if that makes sense. I hope everybody, like I said, is getting information took in what I'm trying to explain. If I am, please say it in the chat so you guys can and I have to go back and give Ricky a shout out on this, because this is the God's honest truth. Huge shout out for this. Ricky's pretty much stating the truth. I mean, this is the God's honest truth. And, you know, DJ, I appreciate you for backing him up on that. So, going back to the respect policy, you know, we got a respect policy. We got the respect and conduct policy. Now we go to the respect policy. This is where that this support system comes into play. And I think this is going to work for all the companies that are involved in the partnership. So content and shows connected to the alliance must be respected. Respect all official shows. This includes the shows I'm about to mention here: AHW, JTV, KXN, AAW, NWF, TNA, anybody that is in our partnership that we have in that chat in the Call Unite Club. We are here to make a respectful community. And, you know, the main thing is what I'm about to say here. No mocking, trashing, or sabotaging these shows or their participants. Constructive feedback is allowed, but only in a respectful way, and do not create conflicts between fan base or communities. That right there sets in the respect policy. And let me clarify that to the knowledge that I have by, you know, studying a lot of stuff on my factor. When you have people that are mocking, trashing, or sabotaging your show, it makes them look like they don't know jack shit. I'm just going to call it out like I see it. Because if you're trying to say, for example, Titan Nation Alliance sucks, it's making you look bad in the long run, because you are literally being the problem and not the solution. I'm speaking facts. So now, hopefully we got that underway. So now we go back to the activity and loyalty rules. Stay active and engaging in alliance activities. Notify our leadership if you be active for a period of time. Loyalty matters. No alliance hopping or splitting allegiances. Representing Tight Nation Alliance and all other partnership companies positively in all spaces. This is where you literally have a foundation to set and to build on, to where you are more progressing and motivating yourself to be better, and not really gauging on the haters that keep on doing their childish antics, if that makes sense. So we pretty much stay in loyalty to our people and not focus on what's outside of the alliance, outside of the partnership, if that makes sense. So now we get into the enforcement system, and I've set this enforcement system up. It's like baseball: 3 strikes, you're out. You know, if you guys watch baseball, you should learn that, you know, you got a batter that he's got 3 strikes, and he's out. He's got, out of those 3 strikes, he's got 3 chances to strike a home run. So in other words, out of these, if he can't get it together, we're going to start removing people. So I explain that better. First offense is a warning. You know, this is what I call a verbal. And, you know, the verbal is pretty much me slapping you on the wrist, telling you not to do it. Second offense is a strike, which means, let me clarify the strike better. So if you're a champion and you don't get the memo good, that usually leads up to 60-day to 90-day suspensions. You know, maybe 120 days. So, you know, you got 3 choice of suspensions there. If that don't work, if you're a champion, of course, you're stripped of the title and I get rid of you. So in other words, automatic termination and removal. That means you're gone. And here's the thing that I literally came up with myself for this live stream here, and for this episode for 14 for Tight Nation Alliance. So I hope you guys enjoy this. The ones that's in my roster, that the ones that respect and literally love exactly what I'm doing on my end for Tight Nation Alliance. Leadership expectations. Here's what you can expect for me as, you know, the leader here. Set the example for the behavior. Stay fair and unbiased. Handle conflicts privately and professionally. Keep the alliance organized and active. So in other words, I'm doing the best I can to try to make this a drama-free and respectful, strong, unified community. So there's that on that end. So the final statements I'm going to get into here is basically, like I stated, is meant to be a strong, unified, respectful community. And if you can't follow the rules, you won't remain a part of the alliance. So in other words, if you can't follow this rules and agreements and everything I've set for as a boundary goes, then I'm just going to get rid of you. In other words, I'm just going to part ways and just take you off the show. And, you know, depending on the level of the punishment, or the they call it something else I'm trying to think of in the back of my mind, the level of punishment, I guess you could say. It will pretty much, you'll have your like ranks and roles system is what I'm trying to say. So in other words, everybody's going to get their fair shares. So this is the high command leadership. So let me put this in the, this is pretty much like me. This would be your supreme leader. In other words, I will have the final authority of all alliance decisions, handle major conflicts, and alliances, can promote and demote any member. Now, the command tier, this is going to be like your general managers and your commissioners. The general manager is going to be enforcing rules and maintain order, lead alliance events, which means, you know, whatever show they're booked on, whether it's Monday night or Thursday night, to their respective shows. And if you are a commissioner, you literally help newer members judge, you keep the activity levels up, you manage group squads with the alliance. So in other words, you guys are pretty much having control of putting things in place of recruiting at your own creativity, if I can say that. So core members, this is pretty much like your wrestlers. There's difference, you know, between the ranks here. The elites are your main eventers. So this is the highly trusted active members, strong contributors to the alliance, can guide others, but they don't get to enforce the rules or manage it. So in other words, they are pretty much like your, you know, champions, like your world champions, like your legends, like your main eventers, you know, that sort of thing. And I agree with Ricky on this too, before I get back into the members part. He did put this in the chat, and I'm going to go. Don't take the joke seriously. That is a major factor here at this. I agree with Ricky 100% on that as we get ready. And, you know, DJ said at the end of the day, we're here to make fun, laughter, ensure a fun and safe environment, E-Fed community. And I'll definitely agree with that part on that as I get back to the members. Now, the members are like your mid-carders. So in other words, they go after U.S. titles, intercontinental titles, that sort of thing. Now, your recruits are more like your newer guys. And also your members are tag team specialists too, that's in there with the members. But your recruits and restricted status is all, you know, like what we call curtain jerkers. In other words, they pretty much do the shows, you know, open the shows, and pretty much they pretty much the first people that comes out to open the show, pretty much. Now, if you're under the restriction status, so here's something that this is going to be new too. If you're under the restriction status, members who broke minor rules being monitored by leadership. In other words, you're getting watched. You're under our watch. And basically what I'm saying is you're under our watch care. So in other words, if, you know, basically you're on a probation. If we see you break that probation, that goes back to what I said about the 3 strikes you're out. That's a part of your 3 strikes you're out thing. Your probation is literally last chance of survival before we make that management decision to boot you out. And I agree with Ricky on this too. he said, EFED is an escape from everyday real life. I agree with that 100%. And I'm going to pin that if I can. I'm going to pin that on the chat there because that is a huge message right there that you guys need to understand. Ricky's putting the truth right there. So just keep that in mind also, what Ricky said. Now, we talked about all of these. Now we go on to our So now we go on to our recruitment message post. And basically, is we are looking for a strong, active, drama-free community. We stand for non-bullying, no spies, no lurkers, no toxic behavior, drama, respect for all people and shows. Our shows must be respected. Like I said, this is AHW, JTV, KXN, AAW, TNA, all of our partnership shows. It's not just a one show. Basically, you worry about your show and you don't care about nobody else's. We all in this together. We all in this to help each other out, if that makes sense. So, if anybody has a questions, now's the time to put them in the chat on this live stream. And I want to go back to what DJ said here that I'm going to. He says each core group is complete factor for the shows and chat failures to comply results and creative processing with your call. Everyone has a role to be creative and have professional wrestling experience. I agree with that. Key thing is professionally and consistent with management. Agree with that. Support the partners and show love. 100% agree with that. And then Ricky said, if anybody's giving out our call info from the community to chat to other EFEDs that are not in the community, we will find out and you will be fired on the spot. That right there needs to be a rule. And Ricky, I'll tell you the reason why, because there is a lot of call creators, and I'm going to make a point on this, that loves to get your info so they can give to other shows thinking that's going to help them. I agree with that statement 100%. What do you guys think in the chat? I mean, I agree with that 100%. What Ricky's saying, that'd be another thing I'll post up to the to the pin message thing. And DJ said, one major rule of this situation is never give call tag informations in YouTube channel chat and effective immediately. That right there is another good example of why DJ has, ever since DJ has literally been a part of my Fed guys, he has gotten so smart at seeing the bullshit. Like, that's one thing I'll give DJ a shout out for. Much love and respect, brother, on your end. Keep doing you. But that's 100% facts. I'll back him up on that 100% for that topic there. I think that needs to be, added with that rule that Ricky said. I agree with you both on that, because I think we need to get rid of these people that just don't value or respect people's ideology and creativity, and they try to use it for their own because they can't come up with shit. And that's the truth. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys something that's going to be a lie. That's God's honest truth. And there's going to be people that comes in and does their childish bullshit. I mean, it's just, it's like, there was an old saying, if you ain't making haters, you ain't doing it right. And that's the God's honest truth that I'm going to say here on the Nitro is Dead. So here's a post that you guys can look up to here. That's in the bottom of the screen. And it's basically a poll. And it says, what Titan Nation Mondo Mania was the best? You guys got 2 choices from Night 1 and also Night 2. Before we end that, hopefully you guys can see that layout. I want to change the thing to the bigger picture here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end that on the long run with the changes to Titan Nation Alliance here on episode 14. I hope you guys enjoy, and stay tuned for more future episodes on Nitro is Dead.
Crown crack, legacy bled. But the real ones rise from the dirt. Kevin Impact, Nick kicking in, legends alert.